Greetings once again to the PMIN897 doctoral scholars here in the summer semester of 2023. This is your instructor, Dr. Larry Asplund, coming to you at the beginning of another week. Welcome to week 5. Of course, that means we're starting to look at the end of our Module 2 process, which is one of our 3-week modules, a very, very important section of what we're doing together this summer. So I wanted to be able to stop by and just review a couple of items, hopefully clarify a couple of items as we go forward. You remember, in terms of the 3 weeks of Module 2, we started out with a Zoom opportunity where we discussed in significant detail the summary of the literature section of your proposal. If you missed that meeting and haven't had a chance to look at the recording, I think you will find it very significant in terms of the work that you are getting ready to do. And really, during the first week, your goal was to organize your research notes and kind of put them into 2 piles. One, notes from the scholarly literature, both discipline-specific and cross-disciplinary sources for your research project, the background of your research project. And of course, then another pile, which is really involves 3 different seminary disciplines, the notes you have relevant to biblical studies, Christian theology, and church history. And so that was week 1, kind of getting ready, getting organized, etc. Week 2 then had you working on an outline for your lit summary. So thinking in terms of how do you want to organize those notes and what will be your main headings. That's of course indicated by your outline. A very, very important process. It will enable you to be able to more easily, of course, compose this section of the proposal, and ultimately has relevance to chapter 2. And so to be able to think in terms of what a good outline would be for this section of your proposal is very important. Now we're coming up to week 5, which is the week where you will actually compose the summary of the literature section of your proposal. And so you will sit down with your outline in mind, with key sources in mind, and begin to write. Of course, you know this is a summary. It will become the basis for chapter 2 when you get into PMIN899, but you're looking to present the key ideas, and the key ideas are reflected in how you organize with your outline, but also to introduce key sources, which you will do as you fill in your report. Remember, you are reporting on your research. You're not describing background for your project. You're not anticipating any element really of your project. You're just giving a research report. And so it's kind of close to what you would do for a research paper in earlier courses. But this one is more important in that it's going to directly relate to your dissertation. Week 5 summary of the literature, then remember that you are dealing with and drawing from research notes divided into scholarly literature. This week only. When we come to Module 3, we'll move over into biblical studies, Christian theology, and church history. You had the opportunity actually in PMIN700 to work on what was called a lit review, or a summary of the literature, which wasn't as specific. It allowed for more general kinds of things, even what we now call BTH foundations. We're separating them out, but I'm sure if you remember what you did in 700, you can go back and look at the work that you did there and maybe discover that not much has changed. And so you will be able to use that when it comes to this assignment in week 5. Maybe you will want to polish it a little bit in terms of making sure you're only reporting research from the scholarly literature and other elements are not entering in. Maybe you've adjusted your statement of the problem question a little bit since then. Maybe you've changed it entirely. But if you did some good work and you still like it, then you basically are going to just make sure it fits well into what we're doing for the proposal. And so the highlights and the key resources from your research notes or from the scholarly literature is what you are going to be presenting in week 5. Bottom line, 10 pages, 10 sources minimum. It can be more than that. But that's kind of a minimum. It shouldn't be probably as many as 20 pages. If you have a really good document from PMIN897 and it is 20 pages, then Dr. Flynn will accept that. But for the most part, remember, this is an introduction. This is a summary that will be part ultimately of chapter 1, which is the introduction. And then you will unpack all that you introduce in the following chapters 2 through 5 of your dissertation. So 10 pages, 10 sources minimum. If you have 12 pages and 15 sources, that's fine. So this is just a minimum, but you're not writing chapter 2. Now, what you're doing will set the stage for chapter 2, and hopefully you will be excited about that because it will save you some time when you get there. So remember that for this assignment, there is a peer review opportunity. The beauty of that peer review document is that it provides you the most complete description of the summary of the literature section of the proposal. It also gives you, again, kind of a basis for providing helpful feedback to other members of your group. So what you will do ultimately is you will post a document. You will simply attach a document as and again, don't copy and paste it into it because that's not going to help me. I have to work with your original document. So you're going to attach a document to your group, of course, still using the discussion board section of the Canvas course. But you will post a document and a brief comment as to how you kind of developed this section of your proposal. And then you will use the rubric to provide relevant feedback to other members of your group. Now, let me tell you how I'm going to grade it. Of course, it's not a grade, as you know, in this class per se. But when I download your document, I will simply state that I am now going to mark this assignment as complete. And then I will begin to review your document and provide you with very specific feedback in an email message. Now, my goal is to help you have a final summary of the literature section rather than waiting until the end of the semester to do all of that work. I would rather do the work as we go. And so my goal will be, okay, you've completed this assignment. Well done. Now I'm going to go through it and I'm going to give you even details concerning formatting. Of course, all of that counts when it comes to your final proposal, and suggesting, maybe this might work better in the biblical foundation section of the next section of the proposal, etc. Whatever might be helpful. I will provide feedback and then ask you to apply that feedback and send me then your adjusted document, and I will save that. That will be your final official summary of the literature document. So we'll work together on it. Now, if you're having, you feel like, I'm kind of stuck. I feel like I'm doing okay, but I'm not entirely sure I know how it goes at this point. I would encourage you to send me what you have and let me provide you feedback. Let me partner together with you wherever you are, help you get unstuck so that you feel confident moving forward. Then ultimately in week 6, we will have another Zoom opportunity and we'll begin to unpack the BTH Foundations section. But hopefully you've done some good work already and you are well prepared to write the summary of the literature section of your proposal. In terms, once again, of anticipating the next 3-week module, Module 3, that will be the Biblical, Theological, and Historical Foundations section. Chapter 3 is called the Biblical, Theological, and Historical Context of your study. And so research notes will report notes that you have that are relevant to three separate kind of disciplines, seminary disciplines, biblical studies, Christian theology, and church history. And we will look very specifically at that in our first Zoom meeting. And module 3 will be structured in the same way as module 2. So first week will be Zoom and you working in your notes. The next week will be an outline, and the final week will be the composition of your section. We'll work together on it. So that's how we're making a progress. Now, to be honest, these 2 sections of your proposal probably will constitute 2/3 of your proposal. And so having them complete will mean that you're most of the way there. So we will work together, and hopefully you will find it enjoyable. If you enjoy research and the research process, then I think you will enjoy this process when it comes to the proposal, and even anticipating down the road of the composition of your chapters 2 and 3. So I love the whole area of literature review. Every kind of formal academic writing has a review of the literature, whether it be a peer-reviewed journal article or a master's thesis, or of course a doctoral dissertation, whatever it might be. It's going to have a literature review. It simply is establishing the fact that you know what you're talking about. You have dived deeply into the scholarly literature. You have determined a very excellent basis for the nature of what you will ultimately be doing in your ministry project. So folks want to know that you're not just guessing it. You're not doing Bible study. You're not doing sermon preparation. You are a scholar, and you're working in a scholarly environment. So I have every confidence that you can do it. I'm looking forward to participating with you in the process and ultimately in your success. So if you have any questions along the way, don't hesitate to let me know. Keep working as you go. Complete your outline if you've not done so yet. And then next week, we will work together, starting next week, on your summary of the literature section of the proposal. So God bless you, everybody. Just have a wonderful week.